Welcome. I'm Alice Alicia Jones, and this is another one of my Living Consciously videos. Today's session is all about words. I went into my file cabinet. I have probably 150 speeches, maybe 200, that I've given over the years to Rays of Healing, and almost all of those have a meaning that is far more important than I have ever given them credit for. All I can tell you is when I think back on the different classes that I have gone to and the different people that have come to me, I have been astonished and regularly bombarded with a torrent of words from people who literally have been on the verge of exploding. And because they had no one to listen to them, no one who took the time to ask them, how do you feel? How do you uh, react to what you heard 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago? No one has ever asked them that. I kind of provide a forum for them. And so I just wanted to share some of the uh, lessons that I've learned from the clients that have crossed my path, especially when they are young. I would tend to believe a 4-year-old over a 40-year-old who was a 4-year-old who was telling me about being sexually abused over a 40-year-old who was vehemently denying it, because I know that that 4-year-old has a measure of truth that is completely 100% accurate. The 40-year-old has had many years of covering up the actions that may have taken place. And so I I know that sexual abuse has been a subject that has come up to the forefront. Um, First with Spotlight, the Boston Globe, apparently the section in the Boston Globe that revealed the church's doings, the Catholic Church's doings, and then in the Me Too movement. And still to this day, to the present moment, people have a tendency not to believe when someone says they were sexually abused, even if they can recall the most minute details of that abuse. The people that have come to me or the people that I have witnessed um, had nothing, fortunately, in most of the cases, had nothing to do with sexual abuse. But one of the most poignant, one of the most vivid memories I have is probably, going to say 35 years ago, when I took a class called The Forum. And this was a throwback to EST that was very popular in the 70s. And the forum was, all you did is when you went to class, it was really interesting. We had to be in class at 8 o'clock in the morning in our seats, ready for the instructor. We weren't let out till 1 a.m., not 1 p.m., 1 a.m. We listened to a lot of people unload, and then we were sent home with homework. So you were completely sleep deprived. But for the 3 days that you were in the class, um, I do feel there were some valuable things that came out of it. I did not uh, appreciate being kind of crammed or crushed or cajoled into joining the next level, the next round of class, which the one I think I paid for was $800. The next round is going to be $2,000, and did not appreciate that. Uh, but distinctly, I can remember one sweet, sweet, sweet little gal. She could have been 60, she could have been 70, she could have been 80. But she stood up to give her story. And she said that as a 4-year old, she was in her garden, in her parents' garden, and she saw a gnome bound across the lawn. Typical red cap, brown and green little outfit, tight little belt. Um, Beautiful little gnome, just exactly like the pictures show it on the whenever they picture a gnome. Um, she went in joyously to share the news with her parents. Her parents absolutely bashed her. They said that absolutely did not exist. That was just a product of her imagination. It was not real. And she said from that moment on, she never trusted herself. That was the sum total of the teachings. And I know that the reason that I do these videos is because of all of the experiences that I've had with the spiritual realm. And the beauty is that YouTube gives me a forum for sharing those experiences. Uh, One of the most clever was the fact that and I think I talked about this in the last couple sessions. Um, I went into the bathroom at 2 a.m. in the morning, and there was a lit candle. And I looked, and it had just been lit, but there was no evidence of a lighter, matches, anything in the vicinity. And that candle, to this day, of all the candles that I have kept in my home, I have never relit that candle, but I have kept it. Light green, very, very pretty, just lit at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so no one in the world could tell me that that candle wasn't lit. And if they did, tried, I just, stepped back. And so I love to share that story with the world because I know that when that happened, um, I was in my 30s and had, mm, uh, could have been in my 40s or in my early 40s, had just recently moved into the home that I live in currently. And it was, uh, again, it was a beautiful, majestic opening to me that there are things in this world that you do not understand, but you can just accept them. And very, very shortly after I moved here, uh, our we had a thriving property management business at the time. At maximum, we had 44 houses that I personally managed, and for other landlords. And when one of my tenants called me to tell me his rent would be a couple days late, I uh, he's mentioned something, and I made the statement, "There are no coincidences." And he goes, "You believe that?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel all synchronicities are planned by God's angels. They're planned to get our attention. And so it doesn't matter what the synchronicity is. You could be thinking of a song and then you hear the song on the radio, or you open a leaflet, or you see a sign and the name of that song is there, or somebody goes by you humming it. It's you hear a few refrains. So many people have had so many coincidences that try to get their attention. The most common is numbers: 444, 333, 222, 1414, 1212. In some cases, some will say 911 or 916, that every time they look at the clock, it might have those numbers embedded uh, in in it. So anyway, angels work very, very hard to get our attention. The And to have us think of a different way of acting, a different way of being, a different way of just realizing that our life is so much more than we think it is. So uh, do not allow yourself to think that there is nothing beyond the five senses. There is an entire gigantic world beyond the senses. I'm just going to go over a couple things that when I gave this class to Rays of Healing, it was a totally different class because I gave everybody a handout with the words that I was going to use. But I started off with the first three lines in the introduction to A Course in Miracles, which say, "Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God." But what you have to do is you have to take the word real and substitute the word love for it. So in the first sentence, "Nothing real can be threatened," it would read, "Love can never be threatened." In the second sentence, "Nothing unreal exists, only love exists." And then the third is the same. "Herein lies the peace of God." So don't feel that uh, I've heard this quoted in different, let's say, spiritual books I've read, but in some cases, it's never been even credited to being in the introduction in A Course in Miracles. But it A Course in Miracles will, if you do study it, it will help you just remove yourself from the unreality of our existence. So I'm going to just again take the words real and real, but real, REEL, and real, REAL. My real life, it's REEL, which is the movie of my life, is my real life. And you can flip those both ways. You can say, my real life, the REEL is my real life, or my real life, REAL is my real life, REEL. Just a play on words. Peace and peace. Peace, PEACE. Everything that gives you peace, PEACE, is one piece of the puzzle, PIECE. Recreation, recreation, recreation. Every time you engage in recreation, you are involved in recreation. This is why it's so important for you to take the time to smell the roses. Take the time to go someplace you've never been. Once a year, at least, go someplace you've never been. You will come back refreshed and come back with just a better understanding. Um, this one is kind of interesting. Refuse and refuse. Refuse, don't allow, to accumulate more refuse in your life, more trash. Just refuse it. Find a way to eliminate, and we're making more progress to that. We're not there yet, not by a long shot. I know in France they have a whole purse made out of string that stretches. So this little ball of twine, uh, you can stuff maybe an entire grocery bag, a big grocery bag of stuff into that purse because all of that twine stretches. So that's refuse to accumulate more refuse in your life. I love this next one. Present, present, present. She will present, give the present gift that was pre-sent. Same exact words, different meaning. And it's so intriguing to me that the present moment is the only moment you have to create in. That's it. You only live in the now. There is no past, there is no future. That is gone. One is a canceled check, one is a promissory note. You only have the present. So just remember that the present it is what you present to yourself as a gift to yourself. I love this next one too. Dove, dove, and dove. Same exact spelling. The Holy Spirit in the form of a dove dove into the hearts of the apostles and the Blessed Virgin Mother on the Feast of Pentecost. And you always see that image with 12 beings, usually Mary in the center, and 12 apostles around her. Well, actually, there would be 11 because Judas wouldn't be there. And you would see the fires of tongue above them, and that where the fires of tongue were descending into the apostles and Mary and the dove above Mary. and sometimes the dove is above the whole picture. So, very, very, very uh, lovely um, image. Okay, the next one is in, invalid or invalid. The invalid invalidates himself, herself, itself. The invalid, the reason the invalid invalidates, because when we are born, unless we have specifically chosen other uh, medical issues that we came in with, or we specifically have chosen to be a what is called a victim soul. And a victim soul is one, very few of them. I've only met one in my entire life that has agreed to stay in pain just because it kind of like a sponge absorbs the negative energies in the vibrational field around it. Like I said, I've only met one person that had agreed to be a victim soul, but there is such a thing. That person didn't live long. She was 15 years old um, when she passed, and very very sad to witness her because she twitched constantly, and even though she was, I think, maybe 14 at the time I saw her, uh, she had no mental cognition of who she was, what she was, where she was, anything like that. So that is a place that most people would not agree to be in. That's just not something that they'd agree to do. So just know though that they do exist. That is possible. Um, there's another thing with a soul that I'm supposed to share with you because I'm being given the picture of it in my mind. There was a class that I was taking with Michael Rhodes, and who was the author from Australia, who worked very closely with Pan and the king of the nature spirits. Uh, and this class, there was a group of us, and I knew something was happening. I didn't quite know what, but because he discussed it with the gal, I could then see what had happened. As we were all sitting in meditation, there was an exact duplicate of herself. And I now recognize that that's the etheric body that separated from herself and went to the other side of the room. And he saw this, he witnessed it. And so he asked her in our presence, there was, I think, about 12 of us, maybe a few more in the room. He asked her, he says, "Does this happen very often?" And she just kind of nodded her head. So, her, an exact template of her personality self lifted out of her and walked over to the other side of the room. And interestingly enough, my husband went through a period where he was just enamored with foreign films. So he would bring home films that had Indian origin, Cambodian origin, Vietnamese, uh, Taiwan, all of the Eastern Asian countries, and they were very, very different, very clever, very well done. I never took the name of the movie, but in one scene, I saw that happen. So they had digitally were able to produce the same effect. And I then recognized, um, because this maybe was 20 years ago, the class was like 35 years ago. And so but I recognized uh, that this obviously was an occurrence that this filmmaker wanted to capture. And it was set somewhere in a very steep hillside in the mountains, but I cannot remember which country, but all I know was Eastern Asia. So that was very intriguing. Um, this is this next one, universe, unit one. Unit means one song, one verse, one strand, one refrain, one collection, one dimension. And the comment that I made was, is it any surprise that the creator wanted universe to identify what it is that we live in? My understanding is we are in the 12th that universe, that this is what we live in, and we are birthing the 13th universe. When we come to the full fifth dimension that the earth is moving into, we will be in the fifth universe. That's my understanding. Um, Next one was refrain, to stop repeating the refrain. And the refrain is simply a group of words or a melody that just repeats over and over. And so it's exactly the same spelling, exactly the same pronunciation, but two totally different meanings. And the last one that I had was tear and tear. The first tear in the fabric of the universe, or the fabric of your own self, can lead you to tear up. When something happens to you, when somebody comes at you with a something that is harmful, dangerous, tremendously, uh, not to your advantage. This is this can be so damaging that it will actually tear the fabric of the universe that you are built up against. Your body is built against it. Um, I can't seem to find a way to explain it any further except to say that there are images of drawings where the grid of the fabric of the universe is shown, and people will, again, digitally, you can do anything. And so the grid is something that the uh, can be very, very easily done on the computer. So I really feel I'm not exactly sure what's coming up next month. I'm sorry, next week, not next month. It's not the end of the month yet, though it feels like it's racing. That we just are simply racing to get there. But I was kind of surprised that my guides wanted me to present this today. So because I had chosen something else, but anyway, I hope you have enjoyed it. I recommend Own Your Power Day by Day. And it's interesting that the video finally shows my cover in alphabetical order, in the correct order instead of being flipped upside, inside uh, the wrong way. So that is $20 on my website, and shipping and handling is included. uh, Great meditation journal. It's the power of positive thinking for the 21st century. It will help you stay in a place where you can have a thought to meditate on every single day, every single time. Um, Something new to think about. So I wish you a wonderful week. We're very blessed. We finally got rain today. It's supposed to rain all day long, and the little lexicon said thunder showers. But what's happening is instead of thunder showers, it's just a slow drizzling rain, which is we desperately, desperately need. So I feel that we're on the outer edges of Hurricane Beryl, and I'm just so, so grateful for it because everything in my yard was so stressed out. If you need any more information on what I offer, my website is AliciaJones.com, and Alicia is ALICJA. I wish you a great week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.